Here's your WNEM TV5 News Update.
Good morning, I'm Maggie Straba. Here's a look now at the top stories we're following today. To help people experiencing homelessness in Michigan, the C.S. Mott Foundation is funding an effort to give away coats that double up as sleeping bags. The waterproof coats were made by the Empower Plan over in Detroit, and they were handed out Friday at St. Luke New Life Center in Flint. The center is open to anyone experiencing homelessness. Well, Garber dealerships will go on to offer veterans and active duty military members a free oil change as a show of thanks for their service. All Garber service departments will be open today from 8 until 1. Appointments are encouraged. And get your running shoes ready. The Eric Jones Foundation is hosting the Burnin' Rubber 5K this morning over at the Owasso Speedway. Proceeds from the event go on to support the foundation's work in childhood literacy, early cancer detection, and animal welfare. The race kicks off at 8 a.m. and if you'd like to sign up or learn more, we have a link to register under the hot link section over on our website, WNEM.com. And here's Chris with a look at your weather forecast.
And we know, of course, the focus on the forecast is what's on the way later tonight and Sunday. But today, we have a decent day before we get there. We've got mostly cloudy skies, likely seeing an increasing cloud trend after this morning. And temperatures will primarily be in the 40s today, but a decent day to get outside and maybe finish up some of those yard tasks or anything else that you have to get to. It does appear that will be dry during the daylight hours. The Thumb region likely going to be in the low to mid 40s. The same is true around the Bay region. Northwesterly winds should also be pretty light. Do think we will be cooler in our northwesterly areas, so places like Houghton Lake, Prudenville, Roscommon, all expected to be in the upper 30s today, but still above freezing in some of our counties that are right along the shoreline next to Lake Huron. I think you're primarily in the low 40s. Your hour-by-hour forecast, the most important hour-by-hour forecast that we've seen in a while because it's our first snow of the season, and even though it's not going to be a big one, it always brings out feelings, good or bad. I think as we get through today, we should be in pretty good shape. We've got that sun this morning, and then as we head towards the afternoon, there is the cloud cover that starts to move in. Once we get closer to the evening hours and the sun goes down, we'll start to cool off slightly, but we do have temperatures that are still well above freezing over most of mid-Michigan, and even as we get closer to 1:30 in the morning and that snow starts to fall or the rain and snow mix starts to fall, we're still above freezing in many areas, and we don't really drop in a lot of places to that freezing mark, or even if we do, we don't necessarily stay there for long. So the warm ground temperatures are certainly a hurdle, but I also think air temperatures could be a hurdle at times. And then once we get further into Sunday, we're just adding daylight to the mix, which is going to warm us up as well. And I think some of those snowfall rates for most areas will start to lighten up a little bit. We also get the heat off of Lake Huron that will keep some rain and snow mix involved, or just outright rain near the shoreline. So a very tricky system and a very temperature dependent system. And that's why I think while we could get some accumulation, it may not be very uniform. The one thing that I think is worth noting as we work through your Sunday is we still get those northeasterly winds off of Lake Huron. So we will get some lake effect contribution there. And I think if we get some lake effect snow bands to develop, those typically have some higher snowfall rates in the right situation. That can overcome the warm ground, but still it is going to be an uphill battle. So I don't think accumulations in most instances will get out of control or anything like that. But I do think as we cool off on Sunday night, if we're still getting some lake effect, you start to see temperatures drop a little bit. And if we can keep that going into Monday as well, I think some additional accumulation is possible as we start early next week. So our snowfall map, it is what it is at this point. That's the best way I can put it, just because of the highly variable accumulations based on ground temperatures and snowfall rates. As meteorologists, this is an event you feel like you can't win, so we try to broaden up these zones a little bit. A trace to about 2 inches kind of a wide range of scenarios there, but this could be one of those cases where one town gets a coating of snow, the next town over doesn't really get much because the snow wasn't heavy enough to overcome that. This could be one of those cases where it's the difference between what falls and what it actually appears to be on the ground. We did allow for at least some locally higher totals downwind of Lake Huron if we can get some of those lake effect snow bands going. So that's more precautionary. Just to let you know, on a localized basis, there could be some totals that get just a touch higher. Your evening planner tonight shows that we drop off to the mid-30s. Your sunset time tonight is 5:17. Your low temperatures going into Sunday more specifically, 20s and 30s. And then as we head into Sunday afternoon, it's right back up to those upper 30s and low 40s. A cold start to next week. We've got wind chills in the teens Monday and Tuesday morning, and we do need to watch any wet roads. They could refreeze, especially Monday night after we've had 2 cold nights in a row by that point. Your forecast for the next 7 days shows temperatures will be in the 30s early next week, but then we're back to the 40s by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Remember to tune into WNEM TV5 on air and online 24/7 for the latest news, weather, and information.